Alright, so you're all going to ask me, where did the Mac Pro go? It's not here. Oh wait, there it is. The Mac Pro is going away for a little while. So, here's what happened. I was talking to a friend of mine who is trying to build up his own little recording studio for his little band. I don't know why I keep saying little. Well, it's not a big band. They don't do classical music. Anyway, so I actually built him a Power Mac G4 to run his Motu recording system. Motu, or Mark of the Unicorn, is a Cambridge, Massachusetts-based manufacturer of audio recording interfaces. I believe they're mostly professional-grade equipment. We're talking stuff that costs thousands of dollars new. Anyway, so the system that I put together, which I was tasked to learn how to run, I'm finding limitations and little issues. The G4 is powerful enough, certainly, but it lacks multi-monitor support. And to make it multi-monitor capable, I have to spend money on a better graphics card, or more than one. Actually, I think it only has one AGP slot. So I have to find a dual-head AGP that is compatible with Mac OS X4. A task easier said than done. Although I found one, I forget which one it was, but it was a little out of my price range. My price range was $0.00. So, further, the machine is, 15 years old? So, well, not quite. 14, anyway. So, short story long, a decision was made. I realized that to make the Mac Pro do what I want it to do, I would have to put a lot of money into it. To me, a lot of money on a machine that is that old is more than $100. No, seriously, I just don't want to put the kind of money I need into it to make it do what I want it to do. We're talking major memory upgrades, we're talking processor upgrades, we're talking video card upgrades, and because I want 3+ monitors, I have to put in 2 graphics cards, at least. So, and I did find the cards that would work for me, but they're expensive. They're not cheap. So here's what I did, and I didn't want to have this gentleman have to spend a lot of money on stuff that, you know, we can live without. So here's what I did. I decided that I was going to use the machine that I bought and paid for 6 years ago now, that does a quite fantastic job at everything I need it to do, and I'm just going to keep it and use it for what I bought it for. And when it dies, it's going to get replaced with a PC. I've decided I'm going to get a Lenovo all-in-one desktop. And for portability, I have junk laptops all over the place I can use. But I want something reliable. I want something that will not have the limitations that my laptop has in terms of expandability. Actually, no, I'm probably not going to do an all-in-one. I haven't really decided what I'm going to get yet, but it's going to be a few years, maybe a year or two. I've got other projects in my mind that require my undivided wallet. So, I've decided to move the 99-cent PC right here. The Apple IIc right here. The 2GS is downstairs, and the eMac is up and running again as my radio station machine, which comes in handy when I'm lying in bed going to sleep. It's nice to listen to the AM band radio frequencies. I'm running my Ramsey tuner at AM 860, and it is playing nothing but classic radio from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. As of right now, I've got Ozzie and Harriet running. What episode are we on? Complaints, 1949. I was listening to it downstairs for a little bit while I was eating my dinner. Alright, so... what is this video about? Oh yeah, almost forgot. We gotta feed our pets. Then we'll get on to what we're gonna do. That should be enough. It's Mother's Day on Sunday, and I think we need to print out a Mother's Day card. But we'll do that another time. Not tomorrow, Sunday. I was over at Trader Joe's, and they had all of these awesome flowers on display. So I'm like, you know, my mom would love that. So, happy Mother's Day, Mom. I went over to Savers. I almost said, I don't know what I almost said, Target? I don't know. And I picked up a new printer. This is an HP DeskJet 840C. And I know what you're thinking. Why would you put money into this? Why would you pay anything for it? It was $8. I figured, what the hell. It'll be a nice little printer for our 99-cent PC, which now has cost me $9 when you figure in the cartridge I bought. I found this in another section of... See, Savers has a problem. A big problem. See, they like to... When people donate things, they don't like to keep the items together. Like the printer and the power supply were separate. And the cartridges... It's like a fucking treasure hunt. So I found the printer. And then I'm like, alright, I gotta find the power supply. So I scour the wall of hanging bags and... didn't find it there. I went into the home office section and I found the cartridge, and then I went to the other peg section and I found the power supply. I was so happy. Alright, I gotta get some paper. I forgot to get that. As if I don't have enough printers. Save some for me. Look at him stuffing her face. Look at him stuffing her face. What did I just say? By the way, they're both female. I did figure that much out. I thought I had one male, but they're both female. What did I come down here? Oh yeah, paper. What I want to do is run a printer test on this beautiful 840C. The funny thing is, I bought one of these printers brand new in I think it was 2001. The odds of this thing actually working are pretty low. It's been sitting for God knows how long. So I've got a brand new black cartridge, and I don't even know what is in here. Oh, that does not look good. It looks like the inkwells are flooded. Let's take a look at the color. Oh, not as messy, but really light. Alright, let me get a flashlight. A goonie blinder. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. This is gonna be fun. I don't know if I can save this printer, but we'll try. We'll try. One of the great things about these older DeskJets is that you can not only still buy cartridges for them, but if the heads are clogged, which is like 99.9% of all problems associated with older printers, you can just pop in new cartridges and the problem is solved. So as long as the print engine works, as long as the rollers don't misfeed, as long as things work, then you have a hope and a prayer of getting it working. This printer was manufactured in February of 2000, according to the production clock on the mold. So we're going to do a quick test page. That's executed by holding down the paper feed button until the power light blinks. It's going to prime itself. And it should feed paper. If it doesn't work, I'm going to throw it in the garbage and say I wasted $8. Best case scenario, it works and I'm going to clean it. We're going to try to clean it. Okay, this looks promising. I do see a colored line, which means the color cartridge is empty. But the black is working. We have magenta. That's better than nothing, and it's pretty crisp. So it looks like this printer might actually have a hope and a prayer of actually working. So I'm going to try that again. Ooh, wink. Let's try it again. I could run the clean cycle by hooking it up to a computer and running the utility. That's too easy. This printer looks like it just needs a really good cleaning and a really new color cartridge, which is like $12. So I think I can swing that. Yeah, all we have is magenta, and we're even getting the half tone on the bow tie, but we have no black, or we have very little. Now I'm going to take this cartridge out, which is, oh boy, it's getting soaked. We have to clean the printer, unfortunately. There's no way to go any further. You see, what's happening here is the cartridge wipe assembly. There's like a rubber or silicone wiper that wipes off the head as it parks it and caps it. That is covered in so much ink, I want to puke. So let's see what we can do about getting it apart. Now I know these DeskJets are usually pretty tricky to disassemble, so I'm going to have to give it my all. Okay, we're going to spring into the future a little bit. This is the printer after all the work has been done, so spoiler alert. Sorry about that. But I wanted to better explain the disassembly process, and I can do it without even doing the disassembly because it's really not that bad. So the first thing you've got to do is remove these two screws up here and here. Then you have to pull the sides off. They pull off like this. Okay, they're hooked in from the bottom, and there's two catches you need to look for. There's one between the metal framework and the front of the cover, so when you tilt the printer upside down, you're going to see it. You're going to have to stick something long and thin, like either a spatula for disassembling electronics, or even a flat blade screwdriver. There's also one in the back. Once you get the side covers off, the rear cover will slide off backward. It's that simple. We did not go over disassembling the front paper tray because there was no need to do so. Alright, back to you. Next, we're going to get this inkwell out, so I'm going to disconnect the motor. And we're going to put this here. There's one screw holding it in there. I am going to take the other side apart too, just to check it over and clean it. And this is going to be a messy job. Look at that, just like that. How the hell are we going to clean this? I haven't figured that out. I'm going to take the motor off, and because it's electric, I don't want to get the motor wet. But this whole thing has to be washed out. Now let's figure that out. I took the motor off and I checked the timing on it. It is timed so that the start position is right here. Okay. Now because it's a servo motor and there is no switch anywhere on this device, it's important that we have it in the right position to reassemble it. That way the motor doesn't jam up and start breaking gears. So it cycles forward, and then once it reaches its forward position, it stops. It stops against the cartridge or the assembly, and it raises that way on a lever type device. Okay. That almost fit down the drain. Oops. Get those out of there. Okay. All right.
My hands are as black as your soul.
Just kidding. She would find that funny. Alright. Here's the sponge. I'm pulling it out right now. Look at this thing. Ew. Oh my lord. Blasting nasty. I just noticed it says top rack dishwasher safe on the bottom of it. It'll be ready by the morning. As for the sponge, we'll finish cleaning that by hand. Okay. One thing I forgot to show on camera that I just fixed was this back door. This is what you would remove to install either a duplexer or to clear a jam. When these were new, and I can say this because I had one when it was new, these locks are nice and smooth, like this. However, when I picked this printer up, the first thing I noticed was that this lock was very tight. In fact, I felt like I was going to break it trying to lock it into position. To fix the problem, I took the cover off. It snapped in. This can be pried off with a screwdriver fairly easily. And once you get the cover off, don't worry, nothing is going to come flying out at you. Just put a daub of Vaseline or white lithium grease in all moving components. What's inside there is a large wheel with 2 cam grooves in it, and the locks slide in and out as the wheel turns. And there's a large buckle spring that keeps tension on that wheel. And what happens is there's no lubrication of any kind in there. So as the plastic dries out, it gets really stiff. So that was an easy fix. It took me 2 seconds. When washing plastics, it's important to remove any silk-screened decals if they can be removed. Luckily, HP used this exact same plastic piece for like 11 million different versions of this DeskJet, so they smartly used a removable badge. I didn't wash the paper tray because it has a cork pad. The heat from the dishwasher would soften the glue or otherwise destroy the cork pad. So that would be a bad thing. I'm going to wash that by hand later on. One thing I forgot to mention, this is a stepper, excuse me, this is a stepper motor. Do not move this motor. Take it out. Do not turn the armature. Do not do that. Because if you do, you're going to throw it out of alignment. There is no sensor on this printer that tells it when or what the position of that carriage is. At least I can't find one. If there is, I don't see it. So keep that in mind. Let's take a quick look. Maybe there is one. If there's a sensor in place, then maybe that will help. I mean, it'll realign itself, but I don't think there is. No, I don't see one. It would be an optical sensor, but it doesn't have one. So keep that in mind when you're working on this, that there is nothing to tell it what the position is of that head cleaning assembly and parking assembly at all. Or is there? If there was, maybe it does have one. Maybe it's part of the no, I don't think so. No, I'm going to pretend that it doesn't have one. That way I can't be wrong. Pretty simple board layout. You could probably clean these rollers while you're in here. Remove any cat hair and cobwebs. Make sure there's no ink on these rollers, or that they're cracked and broken. That's probably the first thing you should check. Make sure they're not all gummy and cracked or broken. They should have a rough finish. This is normal. That's how they come when they're new. This printer has one motor for that. It's got one motor that drives the carriage. It's got a motor that drives the paper feeder. And okay. It looks like the paper feed motor is just a simple. Yeah, these aren't even stepper motors. Interesting. Oh, they yeah, they're not. They're just good old-fashioned electric motors. No stepper motors needed. HP relies on sensors on this model. A lot of their printers, they use stepper motors, which sucks because you can't take those motors out and use them for other things without building a motor controller. But these motors can be pulled out and used in a variety of projects. Let me tell you about a story while washing our printer parts. I was working on a science project, and the project was, I had the greatest science teacher ever. This guy, actually that's the class I built this bridge in. It was, I think it was 11th grade. The class focused on civil engineering. It was just a regular, science class, but the focus was civil engineering. And this particular project that we had it was like when I heard the project announced, like, this is what you're going to be doing, I just lit up like a Christmas tree. No, I wasn't drunk. I was ecstatic because I loved doing this kind of stuff. He had a bunch of electronics donated to the school district, and he said, okay, you have to build another device out of one device. So you take a VCR and turn it into something else. Whatever. I think I think we had to build a car or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. I was given an HP DeskJet 500, one of the original ones. And at the time, the DeskJet 500 was not a collector's item, but it is today. It was one of the big blocky looking ones, and I had to turn that thing into a car, and I did. I turned that printer into a car, and here's how I did it. I used the rollers. It was perfect. It had everything I needed. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. It's all right here. I repurposed the sheet feeder motor, or was it was one of the two motors, as the drive motor. I used the Platen shaft as an axle. The printer had belts in it, and I used those belts. It had two it had a cogged, in fact, this one has it too. This printer is really just a newer version of that same printer engine. But I used this cog belt as a drive belt, and the rollers I used as wheels. I was able to take parts from another item too, and I think I picked a few parts out of a VCR. But I wound up with rubber rollers as feed rollers as wheels. This thing was so cool, and it was fast. It was like an HP DeskJet driving down the hallway. It was the coolest thing, and it was pretty straight too. It was three-wheeled and powered by I think I powered it off a couple of D batteries, but yeah, using almost all the parts. All the parts came from that printer, but I stripped out a lot of unnecessary parts. Anything unnecessary was removed for weight reasons. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I think I was the only one in the class that actually had experience doing that stuff, because when I was a kid, that's all I ever did. I just made stuff out of junk. But let's take a look at this. This is how HP is able to get away with not using stepper motors, and it's pretty ingenious. So they use an optical sensor, basically the same technology that an optical mouse, or not an optical mouse, but that a mechanical mouse uses. You have an optical sensor that tracks movement along a printed strip. In this case, we have a strip going from left to right, and there's an optical sensor on the carriage here that tracks the movement. And HP and Epson still use this technology to this very day, except for on those new models that are page width print heads. Now, here's another one. I came up with the idea for page width print heads when I was in 8th grade or 9th. I think it was in 9th or 10th grade. I came up with the idea after being frustrated with the speed of my inkjet printer. I'm like, what if they made the print heads, put 3 print heads in there, black, or 4 print heads, black and the 3 colors, and they just made it as wide as the page. You wouldn't need to have all this mechanism here. And then I'm thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. I'm like, well, you know, that would be really cost inefficient. That'd probably cost too much, so they'd never do that. I'm sure I'm not the first person to think of that, but that was back in 2001-ish. I figured that out. And but so they've got this strip here. If this strip ever breaks, if it ever breaks, the printer will never work again. But it's threaded through an optical sensor over here. And you've got this wheel that is tracked by an optical sensor. And this wheel, of course, is your sheet feeder positioning sensor. Revision A 10 of 99. Yeah, that's it's pretty high tech, you know. It's pretty cool. Works really well. Works really well. But they don't need to use stepper motors to make this all work, and that's pretty neat. Well, I just woke up, and I thought it was a dream. I thought I had dreamt this, that I actually spent money on a 16-year-old inkjet printer. And not only that, I tried fixing it. But no, it really happened. And here's the evidence. I like to sleep late on Saturdays. I actually woke up at about 10:30 or so. I sleep in. Hey, I work hard during the week, so you know what? Buzz off. Alright, so we have to put this back together. I was able to restructure this piece. I found after it came out of the dishwasher, it had softened a little bit, and there were other cracks visible. And I was able to fix those with that special awesome glue that I use. Let me show you what that looks like. This stuff right here, this is Loctite Ultra Gel. This stuff is amazing. What I like about this glue is that it works better with plastics. I think Loctite realized that more people are trying to glue plastics than anything else. And what's the most popular plastic? Anyone? Anyone? ABS. A butyl styrene or something like that. So they've reformulated this glue so that it doesn't, if you use traditional like crazy glue, what it does is it turns the plastic brittle and white. And it doesn't really bond the plastic to itself. It doesn't do a very good job of that. It just causes damage. This stuff, this gel, it actually softens the glue, the plastic like it's supposed to. And it helps cross-link it, it seems. It does a great job. And I've glued many small, fragile things with good results. I can't tell you how much I love that glue. Now, it's not as strong as it would be from the factory, but it's taking some real flex and it's not breaking off. So, okay. Enough of that. And it isn't all like discolored and ruined. That's the key takeaway here. So let's lift the chassis up. I've decided I don't really need to clean heavily. You know, I'm going to clean these rollers a little bit, I think. It shouldn't be too difficult. Yeah, let's do that. Alrighty then. We're going to need a rag. It's like that Barry White song. Where I don't know when he made that song. He's like, and I'll fix my printer, baby. Oh, yeah. Alright. So we're going to take this alcohol-soaked rag. Don't worry, it's not harmful. And we're just going to lightly clean the roller surfaces. Just to get any, if there's any dried ink deposits. I've had this happen where, you know, the printer had been stored improperly and it sat on its side or something, and then the ink came out of the sponge and got all over the rollers, and it's a disaster, and you don't want that to happen to you. There we go. The dishwasher worked wonders for this this ink tray, or this cleaning assembly. We were able to clean most of the ink out of the pad with liquid Dawn dish detergent. All that ink that I couldn't get out with the sink because it wasn't hot enough, it washed right away. And everything is good to go. So we're going to slide our carriage over here. And we're going to drop this assembly back into the printer. I think HP deliberately made this serviceable. That way they could actually offer this as a service held in by one screw. But yeah, I think HP made these quasi-serviceable so that their service centers could repair them and refurbish them. Which is kind of smart when you think about it. But this printer is actually remarkably easy to work on. Once you get the covers off, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Here's a quick hint on reassembly. Put the side covers on only partially. Lock in the centerpiece, and then once that's in place, you can lock these down. Oh, you can't see that. Here, let's try this. Okay. It should be open. Alright. Now, for the rest of the stainage on the cabinet, that's an easy fix. we're going to use a just an old magic eraser to clean that up a little bit. Now, the dishwasher did an amazing job of not only cleaning the plastics, but removing any imperfections, or not imperfections, but removing all of, alright, so a lot of times these printers develop a static charge, and they develop like a black, dusty, like coating on the inside of the plastics. The dishwasher removes all that. That's kind of why I do that. This is typical of all printers, even dot matrix, lasers, dot matrix. But that substance is, I believe, a combination of paper dust and ink. We're using rubbing alcohol on a magic eraser to buff away the little smudges, and like there's one here. Kind of work it through. We're gonna make this printer look brand new again. We're gonna make America great again. Yeah. Thank you, America, for proving a point. All right. We ain't smart. All right. Enough of that. I can't do two things at once. Alright, let's see if I can go like this. My stomach is growling, I gotta eat breakfast. I know, it's 11 o'clock. More like lunch. Whatever. This is working though. Of course, as it always does. I'm telling you, these magic erasers are so simple. They're brilliant. I mean, it's melamine foam, which has been used in industrial applications for forever. Some genius realized, hey, wait a minute, this stuff can clean. And it cleans, basically it's a mild abrasive. A very, very, very mild abrasive. Now look at this side cover. Doesn't it look gross? No, it looks terrible. But with Magic Eraser, we can wash the terrible away. Just like that. There's no discoloration, which is surprising. There's no discoloration from the bromine in the plastics. It seems to affect some objects more than others. Basically, I think it depends heavily on the formulation of the plastic. Obviously, painted plastics wouldn't discolor. These aren't painted, so that's not the issue. That's not why. But look at that. We made it brand new again. And on the front, there's some scuff marks on this corner here. See that? Get rid of those. We're going to make this corner great again. See? Just like that. Done. Simple. Fantastic. This printer is fantastic. It's fantastic. 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 If she wasn't my daughter, I'd fuck her. And he's going to be the leader of the free world. Wow. Just plain, I have no words. I have no words. I love Hispanics. What an asshole. Now this one mark I can't get rid of. There's a little mark here. It's like an orangey stain. And I don't know what it is, and I don't know why it won't come off. But with enough elbow grease, we're going to get this orange stain out of the White House. I mean, off the printer. That'll be... I love it. That's what he is. He's the orange stain. Yeah, that's what he is. Alright. So, pretty much done with cabinet repairs. We still haven't tested the printer, but I know it works. we're going to put this rear cover back in place. Now, because I lubricated this mechanism, it's going to work very smoothly now. None of this, oh yeah. Before it was like, no, now it's perfect. All right. Sweet. All right. Let's plug it in. Almost forgot. I gotta clean this up, put it back in. Okay. Let's see what we can do. Okay. Do a test page. I can't wait to see how this works. Or doesn't. I don't hear any clicking or grinding. That's a good sign. Wow. Beautiful. Look at that. No priming needed. So all we need now is a new color cartridge and we're good to go. So if you've been trying to install a vintage HP printer on your vintage computer, like I have just done, you've probably realized that drivers are no longer supported by HP. They're no longer provided. HP has actually removed the drivers for their older products from their website. Whether they've archived them elsewhere, I don't know. But what I do know is that there are sites that still have copies of these drivers. Now these sites are often flooded with very shady stuff. You never know whether you're going to get a virus or a driver, and all the fake download buttons really piss me off. But I found what I needed at freewarefiles.com. I did a Google search for HP DeskJet 840C driver, and I found what I needed. The driver that I found was actually, it's good for OSs up to Windows XP, I believe. And it supports as far back as Windows 95. So I downloaded that driver and I burned it to a compact disk and I transferred it to my 99-cent PC. I don't know why I keep calling it that, because it's no longer a 99-cent PC. I copied that driver onto the machine locally and from a CD. One of the tricks, alright, so I kind of talked over myself there. So I burned it to a disk so I have a permanent copy of it, and then I installed it. But the thing you have to remember is the file has to run from within the machine. It cannot run from an optical disk. So I copied the driver to the desktop and I launched it, and it worked. But then something weird happened, and you're going to see that right now. It's pretty cool. So we're trying to print our first test. Ooh, it worked. We're printing our first test page. Let's see what we get. So yeah, when doing that, holy shit! What the really? Merry Christmas! I found a brand new cable in my cable box. It was new in package. Let's see what happens. Brand new, fresh out of the box. A new print cartridge has been installed. So it detected that. Good. Now remember, this is parallel, so it's going to be slow. And I think we might have found the problem. It was just a bad cable. Sometimes it really is just a bad cable. You just saw it. First time I've had that happen in 20 years. I kid you not. The first time in 20 years I have had that happen to me. Okay. We do need a new color cartridge. I'll show you why in a minute. But the printer looks promising. It looks like a new cartridge will solve all of its earthly problems. We have yellow, but we have no cyan. We have magenta, yellow, no cyan. But Look at that. Crisp printout right there. We just need a cartridge. That's all we need. But it's done. And the printer is working beautifully. I mean, it's perfectly straight. I don't see any skewing to the print job. I don't see any quality issues. And this is a cartridge that expired like 12 years ago. So I hope this has enlightened some of you. Go out and buy yourself a printer and enjoy it, because I don't know, I tried to do something philosophical, or but I'm just glad I did this because it worked and I got a nice hour-long video out of it. So there we go. We don't need these files anymore. And I proved that yes, it's like every once in a great while you actually have a problem that is really simple to fix. In this case, we had a bad cable and I had a brand new one in the pack ready to go. It's one that I had saved from a previous project, and we're off and running. I can now print my Mother's Day card, at least maybe next year, because I don't have the cartridge, but I'm going to print it out on my Apple IIgs. Till next time, guys.